Welcome, guys, to another episode of Money Mondays, where we are focused on raising capital and investing with purpose. So, whether you are a new investor or an experienced investor, or even a business owner, understanding the art of raising private capital is crucial in today's competitive landscape. Join us as we navigate the complex realm of attracting investors, securing funding, and building meaningful relationships that fuel your business growth. Hey, guys.
Money Monday.
Welcome to another episode. This is going to be fun. It's been a while since it's me and Betsy.
No, I feel like I've been missing so much. I don't know if you guys can hear it. I've been sick. I've been trying to get over it, a few health things, but it's awful. I've missed being here.
And it feels weird. But now it's like back, they would call it back to regular programming. So we are good, guys. So thank you guys for joining us, always supporting. It's been a while, but we're here.
Yeah.
We're here, and today's episode is gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be not even fantastic, phenomenal,
And
because it's a space that a lot of persons are getting into now. So,
yeah, I know. It's crazy. So every new person I'm talking to, they're like, "Oh, and I'm raising capital now. Um, like how do you manage that?" And like I'm starting to answer all these questions, and I'm just like, hey, like we have YouTube videos going in depth with this, different types of strategies. It's really exciting, and then knowing what we have upcoming too for the
mhm,
end of the year, you guys.
yeah.
Stay tuned because there's a lot of cool things that are happening. And before we begin, we always want to give our little disclaimer. The following information is for educational purposes only. Please do your own due diligence. We do not provide financial, legal, or professional advice.
Mhm.
Everything that we say or hear, you guys hear on this channel, is always from our experience, our guest experience, but every deal is different. Every type of, every space where you're raising capital, because we've seen different ways and different avenues to raise capital. It all can be different. So please make sure you guys find the people who are certified, who are professionals, who have been doing it the
Mhm.
legal way for years. So
No.
in that specific avenue, because it's getting crazy out here. It's awesome.
Listen, and it's crazy because a lot of persons we always tell you guys, like as you said, it's really our experience or guests here, it's their experience as well. They're just sharing their story. If that we say something, I would highly recommend go double check with your attorney, your CPA, just to verify the information. And as usual, like we are going to be asking our guests different questions. If you have a questions, feel free to drop them in the chat as well, and we'll definitely ask our guests to pitch in, and he's gonna be dropping a bunch of gems because he's crushing it in California. I don't know how you guys do it in California. It's such an expensive market, but to them it's normal.
Yeah.
So he's definitely gonna shed some light. So without further ado, we're gonna invite Andy to Money Mondays.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good, of course. This is like multitasking. Andy is driving.
I am driving, making best use of my time right now. It's been a
Yeah.
very interesting day. We just wrapped up a inspection with the city for our $3 million flip in Venice Beach, California. And we just went over a few punch list items with the general contractor. We're like 95% finished with the project and we're ready to go on market. We want to go on market.
Whoa. He's in and out. Okay, he's
Phone
so
calls right now.
So you guys, a punch list is when you're doing a flip. It's like the last things that you're gonna do just to make sure you knock everything out before an
Mhm.
inspector comes, and you put that house on market. So
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Cool.
sorry about that. Can you guys hear me again?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I had a call coming in. I put in do not disturb now so that because like when people call me, I just notice my phone kind of switches from the StreamYard. But yeah, so now I am driving in LA on this podcast, going to the next job site.
No, I
Yeah,
love it, Andy. But for
yeah.
those who don't know who you are, I know we met. I met Andy last year at RPM, and we're part of fun. We're joined Fun Launch as well. Andy, tell us who you are and how you got into real estate investing.
Yes, absolutely. My name is Andy Choi. I am a real estate investor, developer, general contractor here in California, Los Angeles specifically. Today, I am here in sunny Los Angeles, beautiful weather. I am also
Oh my god.
Oh, we lost
We
it.
lost Andy.
We lost them.
Tell us what you know about Andy, Felicia.
So what I know is that he does a lot of new construction projects in LA. I mean, the first time I met him was at the Raising Private Money conference, and he was there because as everyone wants to learn how to raise money, and he was just sharing how he's raising capital for all his new construction projects. And as you heard him like talking about a $3 million deal, like for a lot of persons, that's a lot of money, but it was just one home. And then a lot of times when you see his projects and the things that he's doing, it's phenomenal. And I love that he actually bring other persons who are local there to check out his projects as well. Welcome back.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm getting a lot of calls right now. But yeah, I'm here in Los Angeles. I've been a real estate investor since 2016. I started off with my own business in 2010. It was
Mhm.
a apparel business. We would manufacture women's clothes here in downtown Fashion District. And I scaled that to a multi-million dollar company, sold it to my cousin. So my cousin takes over it. He handles all the operations and everything. And then I went into real estate investing full time since 2016. And since 2016 to now, I did a little bit more than 100 transactions. That's including wholesaling, double closes, fix and flips, ground ups, additions, multifamily. We also did out of state investing to like Arizona, Memphis, Tennessee. We flipped a few commercial buildings as well. And yeah, that's what we've accomplished so far year to date.
Whoa. Well, man, shout out. That is amazing. That's some like great things that you are doing. So I even want to break it down even a step further. It's how did you, for one, how did you get into new construction itself? Because I know a lot of persons would do fix and flip, but what was the reasoning behind new construction?
Yeah, and that jump, did you go straight in from fashion to new construction? Did he freeze?
Yeah, he froze. Okay, he's back. Guys, thank you for tuning in with us and bearing with us.
It has
'Cause I
been
know,
a very
like,
interesting episode.
right? Andy is very busy, but we still appreciate him for showing up. So again, guys, if you have any questions at all, we can add it to our list that we can ask Andy about. But one thing that he does a lot is that he brings persons to his projects a lot and break things down to the T in terms of like what flooring to choose, what lights and paint, like the simple things. Like he really breaks it down, and he actually shares like costing and everything like that. Bro, you should see his work. Like some of his projects are top notch, and it's like baby. For me, I'm like, that is a lot. That's some big projects, but for him, it's like, no, it's California. We're used to it. We're definitely used to it.
To the
Which he,
prices. You
huh?
know, um, I don't know about. I would think California has a more stricter regulations when it comes to inspections. Um, I'm familiar with the ones here where I live. I'm local to
Mhm.
Georgia, so I already know what to look out for. What we have to make sure that our houses have to have in order
Yeah.
for them to be code, right? So
Mhm.
in California, that's like something else that I would want to know how
No, with his
to live.
process.
And yeah, for sure, because
Mhm.
he's
Let's
back.
see feedback.
All right, sorry about so sorry. Please forgive me. I'm getting a lot of calls. So I switched over to my iPad So we're not gonna have any more of these interferences. I apologize.
No
Um,
problem.
but yeah, you were asking me about how did I get into ground up construction?
Yeah.
Yeah, just definitely it's not something I would suggest for like your first time investment because there's a lot of learning curves. Like you have to get floor plans, you have to hire an architect, you got to go to the city to get the entitlement process, meaning you got to get your plans approved. So there's that alone is just a lot of learning curve. But I didn't do my first ground up until like 3 years into the game. Until then, I was just doing fix and flips, just complete renovations and full gut jobs and doing additions. But doing additions gave me a good experience because when we do additions here in California, or actually anywhere, in order for the square footage to be on the assessor's office, we want to actually get plans and permits so that we could show to the new buyer, hey, look, we did this right. This is legit square footage in bedroom, bathroom. So we could get what the property's worth. So
Yeah.
that was like, I started off by a single condo renovation flip, worked my way up to a single family remodel, and then the projects got more and more bigger, like economies of scale. And then like 3 years into the game, that's when I did my first ground up construction. And that was a time where real estate was super hot, like it was a complete seller's market, right? And it was just really hard to get deals under contract. So, and the margins were really thin. So then what we did is, okay, let's look at some other avenues of how could we add more square footage, get more bang for our buck. Some places in California, in Manhattan Beach, which is a beautiful city,
Oh, that's
uh,
great.
the price per square foot. Guess how much the price per square foot?
I think is it like 1,000?
Yeah,
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 I heard it
yeah.
on Selling Sunset, and I was like, what?
Yeah. Oh, you watched? Yeah, it's on the show. Yeah, it's $1,500, 12 inches by 12 inches. So, if it cost us like $300-400 for a high-end home to build, I mean that's a lot of spread right there, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of spread. So those are some ways that we were looking. The reason why we got into new construction.
New construction. So did you partner with, well, before I even go to partnership route, when you got into the ground up, like, did you have your GC license at that point?
At the time, so in the beginning, I didn't have like the first 4 years. I did not have my general contractor license. I was hiring general contractors, but I also created good relationship with GCs where they would lend me their license, right?
Yeah.
I would give them a little incentive, like, by the way, this is complete off the record. But I just got to tell you that's completely illegal. So just if anyone's like, oh, Andy did it, I'm gonna go do it. Just it's not completely legal to do that. But as entrepreneurs and business owners, we gotta find a solution, not focus on the problem but the solution. So definitely do your due diligence in your city, your jurisdiction. What's the right way to do it? Like in California, if the GC is like 50% partner on your LLC, then you could just absorb their license number to your company, and then you can just operate fully as a contractor, right? And then that GC might not have no voting rights within your company. It's just on paper they're 50-50, but just to leverage their license. But I just started off by going through some bad apples to find good apples of contractors, and then made some good relationship with some good general contractors out here. And then we just built a good relationship. I was giving them consistent work. There would be times where they're just maxed out and they can't do more. But I'm like, hey, we created that trust. That was really important. We created the relationship and trust. And then I just asked for a favor. Hey, do you mind if I could use your license to pull this permit? And I'll shoot them a couple $1,000. They're happy with that. And then they know our work ethic. They know that I don't cut corners. I'm like white on rice with everything, every outlet. Like, it sounds overwhelming, but honestly, like, I cannot build my house any other way because like my product shows for itself and it represents me and my company. And like, we need to put a good product out there. Like, imagine you had an iPhone 15 and it's like not even and it's not working. Like, who's gonna pay top dollar for that, right? So my contractors knew that we mean business and that we do quality work and we don't cut corners. So I think that maybe helped them. I never really asked them, but I'm assuming that probably helped them to say yes. The relationship, they trusted our integrity and our work ethic. So, and then, you know, we compensate them a little. So it's a win-win, always looking for a win-win for everybody. And I think, yeah, that's how we were able to use their license. And then eventually I got my license right during COVID, because I got had a little extra time during COVID. Couldn't go out, you know, stuff like that. So it was easier than I thought. I was like, I passed on the first time and I got all the questions right, and I only studied the day before. So I was like, why did I wait so long to get it? Because once I got my GC license, it opened so much more opportunities. Like now I could put out estimates when I'm buying properties. I'm doing inspections, and I'm like, you know, creating like a repair estimator, like, oh, it's gonna cost this much to fix your house, seller, so we need a little discount, you know. So like it just streamlined our processes so much now that we have this extra license. And then, you know, hiring unlicensed you know, contractors, which I have a lot of unlicensed contractors. They're good at what they do, they just don't have a license. So just now we're like completely legit now by having that extra piece of certification. It really opened a lot of opportunities. Big time.
And the crazy thing too, I'm so glad that you mentioned that the detail that you put into your projects. So for those who are listening and watching, like this came after Andy doing multiple fix and flip project. That's how he started mastering his craft. And no, this is going to be my standard. It's not like the first project that he has ever done to figure out this is going to be my standard. This is what I like. He mentioned that he has done multiple projects at once. Andy, we have someone that asked you, where did you get your license?
So yeah, here in California is the California State Board of License, contractor license. What I did was, like, I'm the type of guy, like, I will sometimes wait to the last minute to do things, like, you know, maybe we've done it in school, you know, right before essays and stuff, right? So I knew that if I don't take extra action, I knew I was going to study. So what I did is I paid like $400 for this like course where I went in Culver City. It was like a full day thing, like an 8-hour thing where I'm stuck in this classroom with the book and I have to study. Like I'm forced to study. So I did that. I forced myself to do it pretty much. And I paid money. So like, oh, now I got skin in the game. And then that was on a Sunday. And then Monday I took the test. So if you're thinking about getting your license in California, you just go to California Contractor State Board is a website. And then there you can just apply. You gotta put out the application. It does take some time. You gotta get your fingers scanned, the live scan and everything. They're gonna find you. Every drywall you touch, they're gonna find you. I'm just playing. No, but you do gotta get your fingers scanned though. That's for sure.
Oh my gosh!
Because there's also bad contractors that take advantage of older people and they don't come back to the job site. There's a lot of those things happening. So state of California really making an effort to make it a little bit harder. I know some states like Memphis, it's super easy to get your contract. But California, you guys know, California is the toughest. If you can invest and flip properties here in California, you can practically do it anywhere. Because like, my friends in Texas, they're like, yeah, we're getting ground up permits in like 2 to 3 months. I'm like, oh my gosh, it takes us 1 year out here.
Wait, so that is insane. So when you're looking at a project, if the permit is gonna take 1 year, so then what's the build time for an entire project?
So those are things that we all like factor in our due diligence, and because now we've done so many projects, now we know the timeline we're anticipating because we have everything like documented. This when we submitted it, so when they got back to us. So now we could predict these things. And it takes, for ground up construction, I would say anywhere from 6 to 12 months it's going to take to get your plans approved. And just to be clear, that's with me and my staff. I have a staff of 10 people working full time. That's us like following up with the architect pretty practically on a daily basis, because the squeaky wheel gets the grease. These architects, they're doing work for a lot of other customers, and we're not the only customer. So then, you know, it's just like the squeaky wheel is going to get the grease. So it's like we're constantly on it. Once we get the plans approved, our build time is another 12 months. So for ground up constructions, we're penciling a total of a start to finish of 24 months. And those are things that we do in the due diligence process when we're doing our deal analysis and we're doing our financial models and we're stress testing. What if another COVID happens and it takes 30 months? Are we still profitable? Can we pay back all our investors and everything? Because, you know, the deal that you pass on, that because it's thin, that's probably the best deal. But once you start to be like having this like, oh, positive mindset where like thinking like, oh, maybe if I do it like that and it'll be even better because that comps, so you start like to make your own comparables. That's when it gets really risky and dangerous, right?
So how do you even like, you mentioned like you a lot of things goes into your due diligence, like how do you work with the financing for that? Because I know like with some lenders you start paying interest once you close on a deal. Some persons will tell you I won't even give you the loan until you get the land and you do a survey and all that stuff. Walk us through that process with the financing.
Yeah, great question. And I know this is more towards like, you know, raising capital and financing. And, you know, for us, we're looking at like before. So there's two ways that we're gonna raise capital, right? At least for me. One is we're gonna raise it as a debt, like where it's gonna be a promissory note, like an IOU, and you're the bank, I'm the borrower. I'm gonna borrow money from you, and you know it's gonna be an IOU, like it's a complete debt. So I'm obligated to pay back the interest and the principal based on the promissory note. So that's one option of raising capital as debt. That's beneficial in scenarios where the project is a very short term, 3 months, 6 months, anything under 12 months. That's fine, right? Because we're not going to be in this loan for a long time. So like, let's say just easy round numbers. Let's say the interest rate I'm going to pay to the lender, the private money lender, is 12%. If I only have the loan for, you know, 3 months, then I'm only going to pay like, you know, 4%, right? 3%. I'm only going to pay 3% cash on cash. So shorter deals, I like to use the PMLs. Now, once it gets like 24 months and 36 months, and if the project is complex, like right now I'm building like 6-unit apartment buildings. I'm doing another 5-unit apartment building ground up. We also just closed on a 10-unit value add here in Koreatown. We're underwriting another 25-unit value add. So these projects are going to take anywhere from 2 to 5 years for us to turn it around. So these, and then there's a lot of unknown. I gotta relocate the tenants, you know, some maybe potentially, hopefully not, but might have to even evict them if necessary. That's not our first option, of course. You know, we always, you know, belly to belly. Here's like 20, 30 grand, you know, make it right for them, right? Make sure they have a place to live and all that. So there's all these unknown factors with the tenants, and you know, sometimes we're building really complex buildings where the entitlement process might be a little bit outside our original like understanding. Then to mitigate our risk, because I don't want to be in a 15%, 12% loan for 3 years, because that's going to just absorb all my profit, right? So, you know, if it's a longer deal and there's more unknowns, we're going to do an equity, right? So where the investor comes in as a silent partner, but they have equity, they're not going to help, they're not going to manage the project, they're not going to be in, you know, management, they're not going to make decisions, because, you know, us trying to teach them is we're not going to be able to focus on our objectives, but they come in as a limited partner, a silent partner, right? Kind of like an angel investor. And they get an equity. So then that equity, that the money that they invest, we're not paying interest on that, right? So whether it took 2 years, 3 years, like, you know, they're going to get a piece of the profit later on. So for us, we're just analyzing the deal from the front end. Is this, you know, there's a lot of times where the interest is a lot cheaper, right? Just 12, 10, whatever percent people are giving out these days is a lot more lucrative for us. We would always make more profit in those models. But then again, there's that risk factor of time and holding costs. Those are something we don't control. As hard as I work even right now, driving on the freeway on the StreamYard, as hard as I work, I'm not gonna actually control time and weather and change orders. It's impossible. You know, we do our
Hmm.
best to mitigate all that. So it's just really looking at the deal from multiple angles. Like if it's a quick flip, I would probably do the
PML.
PML and do the interest rate, and then if it's more complicated, longer deals, I do an equity. I'll do an equity.
Okay. So when you're doing that, are you setting up like LLCs? Like, how are you protecting their funds? Are they
Yeah.
are
So
they
yeah, good question. If we're doing a PML, then you know we're buying the property under our entity. We limit 3 properties per one LLC. So just because like I have a friend, unfortunately, he's going through like a big lawsuit. It's a $50 million property in Beverly Hills, and because there's a lawsuit on that property, all the properties under that LLC are
Under that.
frozen, and he cannot move on those. So, once you get to these like bigger price points and stuff, and there's, more risk, more reward, you want to definitely separate your properties under each LLC just in case something happens. You're
Mhm.
not like forced to not like perform on these other projects. It's not like a collateral.
Mhm.
So we
Are
limit
you
three smaller projects at three single family like max, like under 800,000. We try to cap it at like 2-3 million total asset under one LLC. Now when we're doing equity, when we're doing these bigger syndication deals, is we create one LLC for that property, and then from there we have syndication docs. We use syndication attorneys. It's anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 to do a 506B, and from there we're raising capital, and then we have the attorneys draft up the subscription docs for the syndication, and then it's just one LLC, one property, and there's like about you know dozens of
Multiple
pages that
persons.
people have to read and sign. So it makes it really clean, and that way it's not like commingling of nothing. We have one
Okay.
bank account for one property. It's just super easy to manage this way. You
Mhm.
really want to have clean books, clean paperwork. Once you start missing things, and then if you're getting pitched deals and people don't do it this way, I would really question that, because that it can go sideways really fast.
It definitely, even
Yeah.
with, so with, when it comes on to, I'm glad you mentioned the whole syndications as well. Is one, like, how are you finding your investors for these huge projects who are especially okay with knowing that their money will be parked for, let's say, 2 to 3 months? Because I'm seeing a trend now where a lot of investors are either getting scared or they don't want to lend their funds for more than 12 months.
yeah, especially when they're not seeing their like results and like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
immediately.
we've been having the similar experience right now. I mean, we watch the news, they sell fear. That's how news works. Everybody knows, but we still watch
Mhm.
it, and we still use it as a reason why not to invest. It's so funny. We all know that news is all rigged, but people still use it.
Exactly.
People
Yep.
still use it. It's like, hey, let's look at the data, not what the
Yeah.
news is telling you. These people are just trying to get like watch time. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So number one is that we do our best to educate our investors with statistics, like, hey, what is the credit card default, what does that look like right now, what does student loans look like right now, what's our GDP looking like right now, what's the 5-year 10-year bond looking like right now, because all of that is going to tell us our economic situation, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So we try to do our best to educate our investors, number one. Number two, in today's time, if people are a little bit more conservative with investing, we really go our way to like out of our way to make an irresistible offer. Bank CDs are like 5%, 5.5 right now. Bank of America, whatever, like
Yeah.
CDs are at
Mhm.
5.5% a
Yeah.
year. So it's like, okay, and then they're like, oh, I got a CD at 5.5. I'm like, okay, well, what if I double that to like 11 for you for like 12 months? Would that work, right? Just really providing an irresistible
Mhm.
offer where the risk is worth the upside.
Yeah.
And for our equity deals, man, we're giving out like 1.5% equity multiple. So that means that if an investor invests $100,000, they're gonna get 150,000 back in the course of 2 years.
Years.
So our internal rate of return in that period is 64%. So, and then they know. I don't have to
They
tell them.
know.
They're like, where are you going to get 25% cash on cash return in today's time? Nowhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere on this planet.
No,
No.
and it's crazy. I love that you mentioned the 1.5 for my overthinkers. Like, can you break down how do you come up with that 1.5 for the equity
Yeah.
split for someone who gives 100K?
Yeah. So, out of the whole 100% profit, 50% of the equity is allocated to the investors, right? So the limited partner, the silent investors of, the general partners, myself, and a few of my business partners. We are the general partners. We found the deal. We sourced the deal. We're doing all this work. You know, we're gonna retain 50% of the equity. You investors, as you guys, as we're raising capital, we're gonna provide 50% of the profit, which evened out to be a 1.5 equity multiple. So for every dollar they put in, they're gonna get 50% back, right? So so again, if they invest $100,000, they're gonna get their 100,000 plus 50,000 dollars as profit. So they're gonna get $150,000 back at the end of the project, right? And now that's also a sliding scale where if because it's an equity deal and they're part of the deal, if the project makes more money than that, better than our projections, they're gonna make that. Now, also since they're part of the deal, if there's things that we don't control, the economy, and let's say we get a little bit less in the sale price, then yes, they're gonna also make a little bit less with us, right? But I like to always explain it like, hey, as an equity deal, you're in the boat with us, like you're in the boat. We're in it together, going to the promised land,
I love that. We're in the boat together.
Yeah. So if we get there sooner, yay,
Yeah.
we're gonna have margaritas and pina coladas faster and better. If we go to the island and there's a lot more fruit, that's even better.
That is even good. So even for those like 6 unit, 5 unit, the 10 unit, like tell us like how much money did you have to raise? Give us like an idea. How did you structure a deal like that?
Sure. So number one is just making some. Well, if I can share real quick, like how to get these deals. Number one is just creating relationship with your realtors, your commercial brokers. Your realtors are going to be the gateway to these leads. Now, there's nothing wrong with working with new realtors, but maybe the quality of the lead might not be as good. So we like to work with commercial realtor and brokers that's been in the game and they understand our business model and the finance is the language pretty much, right? Because if not, then we have to teach them everything, right? And then as a real estate investor, I'm also mindful of our time because that's one thing that we're not going to get back. So really creating good relationship with your local realtors. You can go to meetups, there's so many brokerages out there. You could even search on Redfin or Zillow these days, and you can find all these realtors and call them, hey, I'm looking to buy, these kind of 6 unit or, 20 unit apartment buildings. And what do you got? Send them my way, vet them out first. How long you've been doing this? Do you get these deals? Do you get on market, off market? So, start to plant those seeds so that instead of you going searching for the deals are coming to you. And then you're just like analyzing them. If you don't know how to analyze them, then you can work with someone that knows how to analyze them, so you can get that experience. Even if you have to pay for a coach or mentor, it's like totally worth the investment if you're going to make this a full-time thing, right? And also once you get the deal, and then like I said earlier, you really want to stress test it, right? Is this going to be a 24 months or 36 months? Because we really got to be precise on the execution, because also our reputation is on the line. For me to go back to my limited partners and be like, oh, we need another 6 months, they're gonna be like, what happened? What happened there, Tyler? Oh my goodness, how are we off? So that's not gonna look good. So the due diligence process is critical. Our due diligence process is pretty intense. for that reason, because we want to be really precise. We're getting appraisals. We got our architects on board doing like preliminary schematics, you know.
So is it that your due diligence is like, is it like 45 days or more or less?
Yeah, these bigger deals, we're doing 60 to 90 days due diligence, right? Because just mainly because there's so much to do. We got to do soils testing, we got to do environmental, right?
Mhm.
We got to talk to the housing authority for, you know, relocations. Just, and then the city's slow. Like no city that I know is like super fast. Yay, let me put you in the front of the line. It's like I'm chasing after people and reading their website and going in line, and then they're passing me to this person. It's like,
Okay.
you know, so it's just like it just takes more time
Yeah.
than just your normal single family. But yeah, so a deal like that, let's say on a 6 unit here in a nicer area, in urban areas like Los Feliz, which is a gorgeous area. I love that spot. Like Culver City, Mid City in LA, West Adams. So these are all parts, like little cities
Absolutely.
within LA City. And just, I guess the best way to think about it, like, you know, if you're like, you know, like a woman walking down at 9-10 p.m., is it safe? You know, that's, those are the areas we like to invest into, because people are willing to pay the higher rents to live in those areas.
Yeah.
And usually those also attract a lot of good businesses like restaurants, you know, like cute hipster areas, coffee shops, right? Also, which attracts the right renters, right? So a deal like that, I'm buying for about 1 million. That's my purchase price, anywhere from 1 million to million two, pushing it. Our soft cost is going to be soft cost, meaning permits, architects, city fees, you know, soils, you know, stuff like that, inspections. My soft cost, I'm about like 600,000 into it, and then my hard cost, my build out, is going to be about like 1 million, right?
Wow.
So, you know, so 600,000 plus 1 million, at 1.6 plus the purchase price, I'm at 2.6 million. That's unleveraged. That's without any interest or anything like that, or holding costs. Just straight basis is 2.6.
So that 600, is that coming from the syndication fund?
Yeah, so I was gonna.
Correct.
Are you using for
Yes.
these multi
So
units? Are you using them? Are you using all your lenders, or are you
that's a
like?
good question. Like some deals, we're putting money out of our pocket. Like there's times I'm putting hundreds of thousands of my own capital into deals just because I got to get it done. You know, it's like just timing of everything. We got to close in 30, 60 days. These syndication docs take, you know, a couple of weeks, and plus now we got to go raise the capital. You know, no, just backing up a little bit. If you have a really good deal, people will invest. You know, but if you have a thin deal, or the location is not that good, or it just seems very optimistic, not accurate, you know, the people are not going to invest. So just having a good deal, like the deals that we're doing, we know they're good deals. So I'm putting out my own capital in the beginning, and later once I fully capitalize for my investors, then we're going to do reimbursements. Right?
Got it.
So it does take some money to make money, you know, like everyone heard probably in the past. But there's, you know, for people that are starting out there, you can always partner with somebody with capital to be your like checkbook. Like, hey, we need to fund this now. You know, definitely want to create that relationship with investors that got 100, 200, 300 liquid that they can put into the deal for 6 months. That would be a great starting point for a PML, right? Where, hey, I just need you to put 100,000 for like 6 months, because this is what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna give you, you know, 10% or whatever, right? That way you could still get the deal done, and then later you'll do like a syndication down the road. You do a syndication because if you don't close on the deal, you don't even got a deal to pitch or raise capital, right? So you just got to get it done. You just got to get it done. But there are ways. So I'm in it for 2.6. So let's say another 500,000 for like interest, selling costs, realtor costs, closing costs, you know, stuff like that. So then we're all in like 3.1 million, right? Everything out the door. Our exit is about like 4.4 on a good day, maybe 4.2 on a bad day. Okay. So we got a good $1 million spread. You know, we're working on a good 35% margin, you could say, right? So those are our numbers, and we're doing all this in 2 years. Right now, we've really speeded up our entitlement process, so we're about 6 to 7 months to get full set of plans approved by the city. Remind you, I have a small army of virtual assistants and executive assistants. I have an army of like 3 people just in the entitlement process because it's a lot of work working with the city and the architects. And we're getting our RTIs in about 6 to 7 months.
Man, so with even though you're raising majority of these funds, by any chance, do you tap into a hard money for construction loans or anything like that?
Absolutely. If not, so that deal that I just explained to you, our capital raise is $900,000. So we raised 900,000 from our investors as limited partners, and they're 50%, we're 50%. They're gonna get 1.5 equity multiple. Now, if I was to like fully fund, like raise all that through investors, then that's triple the amount of capital raise. And like once you guys start to like raise capital, you're gonna start to realize, man, this is a full-time job. Like, god dang it, like OMG, like it's easier than it sounds. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but just to prepare you mentally, like it's a grind. Like you gotta build rapport, build trust. People are skeptical. There's so many scams, and like, you know, really got to build that relationship with people. And then also people are testing you, like, are you on top of it? Are you not? Every detail counts, right? So what I'm trying to say is that all that takes time. You know, there are some unicorns. I've had some unicorns where, you know, I run into someone just right time, right place. You know, we just hit it off. Just, you know, they're ready to just, here's 100 tomorrow. Like, you know, and the best ones are where they're in my immediate influence of circle, like friends and families. Those are always the lowest hanging fruits to invest because they trust you more. And then referrals, like I would get referrals. Like my mom would have a business owner she knew, and you know, they trust each other. So he comes to the property, he sees it, he pulls out his checkbook in the car. Okay, so who do I make the money payable to without no paperwork? Like that's the level of trust sometimes you might have, which is a phenomenal.
That's like, gold.
Yeah, let's go. Oh my god, I'll take that every day. Pull out your checkbook every day. Like, let's go. Like those are some easier ones, but you know, some of them are challenging ones. Let's talk about the hard stuff, man. You're like taking them, you know, you're educating them. You're getting on Zooms. You meet at the property, and like, oh, I guys still got to think about it. You know, like, dang, man, and you just spend like 6 hours altogether on that lead, but. It doesn't go to a vein. Don't think about it like, oh man, what a waste. No, you're on to the next. That one, you planted the seed for the seed to turn into a tree. They're like bamboos, like bamboo trees. They don't grow for a long time, and suddenly they grow like crazy. They just shoot out of nowhere, right? So you never know. So the point is just constantly plant the seeds, and if they're not ready, they're not ready. You know,
those these guys.
When they're ready, they'll definitely know. Do you do any form of? Because I know you're very active on social media. Show the stuff that you're doing, but how do you think? Do you think this you post on social media had an influence of how you raise money, or is there any like non-traditional way how you're like finding investors?
Yeah, the best thing I notice is just getting them to the property. Like once people see a tangible product, it's more realistic versus just sending, you know, pitch decks and doing Zooms. Even though they know me, even though I know them, there's, man, like people get excited. So recently, we did like a meetup at our project that we're raising capital. We'll invest a little bit of money and print out renderings and blueprints. People love that. Like they don't know what they're looking at, but it looks good. Like I didn't think about it. But you know, it got to a point where like it was like a museum piece. People are taking selfies, like yo, take a picture of me with the backdrop. Like it was like that, and then that was I didn't even think about it being like that, but it happened that way, right? So invest into nice, high quality pictures, like you know, pretty big, 24 by like a little bit bigger than a normal A4. And like in color, high res. You can find those people on Fiverr or Upwork, or you can ask your architect to do renderings. Might be a little expensive, but get some high quality photos. Some blueprints, right? Because this house is dilapidated, so people can't see through the vision sometimes. So it's like okay, so like and then a couple of my partners, the reason why I partner with them is because they have one of the reasons is they have a good social reach. They have like 150,000 people on Instagram, stuff like that. So we will promote a free on-site meetup, completely free. We'll have, since LA is known for our Mexican food, right? We got our Mexican food down to the point, to a science. Okay, the best, hands down, other than Mexico City. Mexico City is pretty good too. Don't get me wrong, but LA's pretty good. LA's like number 2. Mexico City is like number 1. Uh, but in USA, I think LA has the best Mexican food, right? Please someone send me a DM if they find any other good Mexican food. I'm like eating Mexican food like every week. But getting back to the point, we'll do a taco. We got to provide like a freebie. People love free stuff like tacos, agua fresca, right? Like watermelon, cantaloupe. And and we're promoting it. Come network, with people that are interested in like this. We don't say we're gonna raise capital because then no one's gonna come.
Yeah.
Hey, we just bought this, property. We're gonna build 6 units. Come, we're gonna have free tacos and agua frescas. A great opportunity network. There gonna be lenders, there's gonna be wholesalers, blah blah blah, whatever, and just getting people. So the last event, we had like 80 people show up. And we don't like to pitch too much. We keep it short. People are enjoying, and then we do a small presentation, literally 15 minutes tops. Like, how do we find the deal? How do what's our vision? Blah blah blah. And then we just do Q&As. Like we just noticed, say more, let's say less, answer more questions, because I just want to answer their questions so they're confident on the deal. And then what we're doing in this 3-hour moment, I'm gonna give the golden nugget. Okay, I'm gonna give the golden nugget. During this 3 hours, while people are here, me and my partners were working the room. What does that mean? Every 5-10 minutes, we're hopping into a different conversation, and our goal is to meet everybody and to size them up, to see like, or can they invest? They got money to invest? Do they want to invest? And sometimes they'll have leads for us to buy. Some people want coaching or mentorship. That's another opportunity, right? Or they know somebody that wants to invest. So, or they have a line of credit. You'd be so surprised. So we'll do a seminar like that. And then one thing that I noticed really worked, that was the frosting on the cake, that I came up with it literally on site during the presentation. It's like, hey, if you invest today or this week, we'll have an exclusive like webinar for you every 3 months where we're going to go over the deal and what did we do. So you get a free mastermind learning on top of your investment. Yeah. Everybody loved it. Everyone, like, they all signed up. Like, a lot of people signed up, because one thing we're realizing is that because we're in such an information society, people want more than just an interest now.
Yeah. They want to be involved.
They want to learn. They want to be part of the deal. Like, we're working together. So
I love that, because
we did that.
Keep them involved and also feel part of like, hey, I'm part of this, and I get to ask the questions, like, what's going on with the property, what are the updates, like, just to be helpful, but like, with this checkbook.
Yeah. People want to be informed, and that was the frosting on the cake. And in less than 2 weeks, we raised the whole $900,000, fully capitalized. We had one investor put $450,000, one person. My friend Daniel, he put $300,000, just one person. So it's there. You got to be really proactive. You got to definitely give a good deal, like a good equity multiple where it's worth it for them. Like, oh man, wow, this is a no-brainer. Where am I going to get this now? I got this money just sitting here doing nothing. So don't be greedy, because all that will turn into better, positive things. Better you do the deal than being too greedy with your interest, and then equity splits, and you're not going to even do nothing. You're not going to get the deal. You're not going to perform. You're going to be short on cash flow. So just create a win-win.
Yeah, I see a lot of persons are always like, they don't want to pay a higher interest or give a lot of equity, but I'm like, just give it. What do you got to lose? If you don't, then you just don't have a deal, and then you don't make any money at all.
True. And then just to add to that, I mean, there is a point where it doesn't make sense though. Like, someone's like, oh, give me 80% of the profit. I just want to be clear. At a certain point, it doesn't make sense. So when we do our due diligence process, when we do our financial models, we already know what's going to be the max we're going to be able to go. And, we're just going to negotiate a little bit, like any good business person would do, right? Because we want to also make sure we have a healthy runway, and we're not giving out all the profit. And we're running on fumes, and now we're stressed and we can't perform. So it has to be a healthy balance, and we're looking for investors that understands that principle. I mean, if you take all the profit, then how do I perform?
Yeah,
So just
exactly.
that
No.
right mindset and mentality.
Apart from finding investors who want their money a quicker return, a faster return, are there any other challenges you're seeing when it comes on to raising capital or the private money space for you getting access to money?
Yeah, I think a couple challenges like new investors, like let's say like I got a referral, like my friend Kathy, she's very active and she does life insurance and she creates like trust for investors and stuff. So she's always out networking and going to these like galas and banquets. So, you know, we hit it off and she would send me a lot of leads. She'd be like, oh, this person wants to invest 30 grand, 50 grand, blah, blah, blah. Right. And then the thing that I noticed with these people is like everybody, like you said earlier, the first investment, they want a quicker turnaround. They want to see that it's legit. The longer it is,
Yeah.
they realize the risk. So I'll give you another secret. So I love to use those people for EMDs. I'm like, listen, you just gotta park your money for a month or two, because that's and then you're
Yeah.
gonna get paid back.
Yeah.
And then
That is a smart way to do
they
it.
love it. They love it. I'm like, oh, and you're gonna send the wire directly to escrow, not to me. So they love that too. It just creates a extra level of like trust and security for them.
Yeah.
And that's how we get them hooked, right? It's kind of like you gotta get it done, and they gotta get it paid, and go through the whole ocean and emotion. Like, oh, this was legit, positive reinforcement. And then after they get paid, I'm like, oh, we have another,
Another
why don't
tool.
you reinvest it into this now?
Yeah.
Now this is 6 months. Now this is 12 months. Now there's a baseline, right? Now there's that trust. So
I
you can
love
always
how
use that.
you
Yeah.
I
And
love
then
how
the
you
dollar
don't
amount's
turn away
lower.
anyone.
The
Huh?
EMD dollar amounts are a lot lower. Like some states, you're only putting thousands.
It is, yeah.
Here in Cali, you're probably putting like 20, 30, 40, 50,000 here in California. But, it's a good way for people to start small, and that can open the door for you to access more capital.
More capital. I love how you're not even turning away anyone, because you're looking at it that I may not need your money for a larger investment now, but I can use that as EMD. I know some person will be like, if you have this amount, I don't want it. But the fact that you're like, nope, I can use that money as an EMD, and then you just start like testing it out, that the money's they're going to get back the 50K, you're like, hey, let's do another 6 months, ooh, let's do 12 months. So the fact that you keep building that rapport, that relationship, and prove like a proven track record, it's going to be easy to convert them to a longer term loan.
Yeah, I love that, Andy, that everything that you're doing, everything that you're mentioning here is building that trust. You're building that trust with the EMD, you're building that trust by keeping that report, by doing the webinars. That's all like points of content, like keeping the people involved in what you're doing, but also building that trust. They can trust you. They're seeing what you're doing. They're being involved.
Yeah.
They're asking questions.
And maybe like, but then like, just I appreciate the words, girls. And then like when I was first started, man, 10 grand, 15 grand, I mean, that's a lot of money. Don't
That's a
get me
lot of
wrong.
money.
You could do a lot in like Georgia with 10 grand, right?
Yeah.
But like honestly, in California, you can't do much with 10 grand. That's like closing costs. That's just like escrow closing costs, like 10, 8 grand, right? But the point is that in the beginning, I didn't take smaller money because I just didn't have the bandwidth, right? I just didn't have the info. Just to be clear, the reason why I'm willing to do that now is because I have a team. Just in the funding team, I have 2 people full time. Just investor relations, staying on top of it. If anyone has any question, we have rules like you have to respond to emails within like 3 hours, or you're gonna get dinged on your performance. Like, oh, how many emails did send within 3 hours? So we're looking at these KPIs to hold them accountable. So now I'm willing to take smaller amounts because like we have a system in place. I have like a Loom video. Like, let's say I meet someone like at the Dodgers game. Like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I help people earn double-digit returns by investing into real estate. What? Yeah, people like you. But and like, what do you do? Blah blah blah. And they get interested. I'm like, okay, cool. Give me your email. We'll send you an email. Watch it and then talk to us. Because like we're not trying to waste time, right? So in that like 30-minute Loom video, it like explains what the investment is and how do you invest and what do you to expect. And then from there, we have a Calendarly link to go over specific deals that they can or they want to invest in. And then now we just have a system. So we already have our promissory note templates, our deed of trust templates ready to go. You know, we have different versions like monthly interest, quarterly interest, like, or pay the interest at the end. You know, we have all of our systems ready to go. So now, you know, now that we have all that infrastructure set up, you know, 10, 20, 30,000 is not a big deal. You know, we'll take it. We'll take it because that will turn into something bigger, or they'll refer somebody that's bigger.
Do you have like a special CRM that you're using to manage all your investors and doing your follow-ups?
As of right now, we're just using Google Sheets. But we have this for our syndication deals. That's a little more complex. So we're using a program called Cash Flow Portal, and it's a great website. It's a little pricey. It's $1,000 per deal, but at a certain point, once you're doing like, you know, millions of dollars, it's really like a 0.1%. Big deal. But it is a little bit on the pricier side, I'm not gonna lie. So what that does is we can upload our deals onto that portal, and then investors could come. We just send them a link. We'll have a webinar. We will send them a link or a QR code, and they'll scan it at the end of the webinar, and then the investor could go just directly there, create a user account, and then put the dollar amount. Super streamlined, seamless, amazing. And from there we could communicate with the investors, send them emails, texts, all that. So, and then it stores all their information, everything we need to be compliant with SEC, like so legit. So for our bigger deals, we do that.
That makes sense, because I'm familiar a little bit with that software, and as you said, like it's very streamlined. But let's say because this person is a complete newbie, they can't do the $1,000 yet for those big ones. So I love that you mentioned that you use Google Sheets. So then, how are you doing mass emails from the Google Sheets?
So you could import your contacts, your emails into your Gmail, and then from there it's going to be a little bit manual. But what I'll do is I'll create a draft with all the investors that I want to email as a BCC, where they can't see each other's email addresses, right?
Yeah.
Not a CC, because if you do a CC, everyone's gonna see each other's emails, so that's not cool. You want to do it as a BCC. Okay, it sounds like some ancient dinosaur stuff. Oh, BCC and AD. But make sure to do it as a BCC. And what I'll do is I'll put all the investors' emails, and then what Gmail will do, it'll save that template as a draft. So what I'll do, then I'll go to draft, I right click, and I create a copy of the draft, because if I send that email, then I'm not going to have that draft anymore, right?
Yeah.
So then it's really easy. Then I don't have to, because the most time consuming part is adding everyone to the damn email. But if I already have a template, then I just start typing. Okay, this is what happened, here you go, done, right?
No, it's like easy plug and play. Like right before we wrap up as well, Andy, like what advice would you give to a newbie who is either looking into new construction and to also use private money to get into those projects?
I would say like start now, like start raising capital now. You could never have enough access to capital, because as you do bigger deals and more complicated deal, you're going to need to have access to even more capital. So when you have a really good deal, instead of you like scrambling, to raise all this capital, start planting those seeds now, like I said earlier, so that it could turn into like, good positive relationships down the road. Just have that discussion with, like, make a list of all your immediate people that they have money and you have a relationship with. Make a list and just call them. Even if you don't have a deal, just take action now and just call them. Be like, hey, look, I'm planning to get into real estate investment. I was wondering, would you be interested in investing with me if I find a good deal for us?
Yeah.
That's it. Just have that preliminary talk with them now, and you'll be surprised. What we don't know. And sometimes we don't take the action because we think there's going to be some kind of like premeditated rejection, right? And therefore we don't even take the action. But you have no idea what they're going to tell you. Sometimes they're like, oh my God, I've been waiting for something like this. You'd be surprised sometimes the stuff I find. Like people were like waiting for this opportunity. They just didn't know how, or they didn't have the time, or they didn't trust anybody, right? So, be proactive, make a list, take action, turn, are you interested? Are you willing? What's,
No,
see, see the confidence.
I'm definitely stealing your idea with the meetups. I've seen persons do it here in Florida, but I like the approach that you take with having the event at the project itself and showing persons what you're doing. And then that's also a way for you to raise money. So I'm definitely stealing that idea.
Yes, yes.
I'm
By all
actually
means,
taking a lot of things
steal,
from this too.
steal it away, improve it, and then I'll steal it back from you.
Yeah.
And then you can steal it again. And then
Yes.
we'll keep enhancing it.
Listen, you just have to keep. It's not even stealing. I heard someone told me that you're being inspired by what the other person is doing. So that's the best way because you see what they're doing. Why reinvent the wheel? Just see you see what they're doing. Take their idea, build on it, and then they're gonna build on it with something else, and then you get a whole other idea. Man, Andy,
Exactly.
this was like so good, and I'm definitely calling you after this.
Yeah. Can I drop one more gem?
Yes.
The
Please.
biggest secret weapon right now to raising capital is collaborating with people with. So people with Instagram, YouTube, like people that have like
The following.
clout, say their audience trusts them. Like
Mhm.
that, it's been a big game changer for us. So then we'll collaborate with them. They actually get equity in the deal by us collaborating with them. So it's very irresistible. Oh my god! I get the equity. So that's been a big game changer for us right now. Like working with influencers, YouTube influencers, Instagram influencers, ideally in real estate or ideally in business of some sort of like financial, not like. I mean, I might even do it with Mr. Beats if he would be down with me. It might be a little bit. I don't know how interesting of a video that might be, but I'm sure we can, raise a lot of capital. Like if you look
We're
at Grant
good to
Cardone,
go.
I've been looking at Grant Cardone's ads. I get hit up on Instagram, and what does Grant Cardone do? He's partnering with HVAC company, plumbing
Good.
companies, right? And these people are leveraging Grant's, influence to
Yeah.
like speed up their growth. So we're doing the
Mm-hmm.
same. We're connecting with other people that don't do this, but they have the audience, and
Yes,
by
to do
us
it.
working together, they're getting part of the equity, the upside by doing that, and we're raising the capital. I just raised $1.7 million in 3 weeks for another deal, fully funded, done,
Whoa,
by doing this kind of business model.
that
So
is genius.
Yeah, that
there,
is so.
in times we're gonna have to find these new ways of creating a win-win with
Yeah.
other people. Like they don't know how to find deals, they don't know how to run the deal, they don't know anything. Not they don't know
Mm-hmm.
anything, but they don't know anything about real estate. But they always wanted to get into it. Everybody wants to get into real estate investing. Just got to find a way to create a win-win to make it work for
Situation.
everybody.
No, you're like that was
Drop.
definitely another gem.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much, Andy. That
My
we really
pleasure.
appreciate you being here and just like dropping all this knowledge and
Mhm.
you taking a few things from.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Anytime. Anytime.
Yeah.
No,
So
and
yeah.
I have one more question, Andy. What's the best way for persons to reach you?
My best way is on Instagram. My handle is Ready Cash Offer.
Yeah, you guys, it's on the description. So if you guys want to go there and just click on his name, it's you should have a link there directly to Andy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you
If
guys
you
have any real estate questions here in LA, in California, hit me up. If you guys are looking for a good mentor, I'm taking exclusive students, only action takers. So if you're really serious about learning and growing, working with like the best of the best, send me a DM.
This is dope. This is good.
thank you, Andy. That is amazing, you guys. You heard it here. go and message Andy for more information. And thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being so supportive. We're getting close to the next milestone on our YouTube followers and Spotify. Just seeing all that is amazing. You guys are the best. So, you guys, as always, you guys want to know more information, if you guys see we haven't talked about something that you guys want to talk about, let us know. We're always looking for new ideas. We have some really cool new ideas that are going to happen in this next few weeks, so we're really excited about that. And also bringing on newbies, so let us know. Communicate with us. That's how we know. So whether you're looking to finance your next project, launch, or expand a new business, we hope that this episode gave you insights, strategies, tips, so that you can raise capital and invest
with purpose. All right. Bye, guys. Thank you so much, Andy.
Thanks for having me. Bye.